we are going to learn DOM manipulation using JavaScript. DOM manipulation means we can access DOM elements and we can change the contents of the DOM element dynamically with JavaScript. We will use the document object to access those individual elements and we will manipulate those elements. We can get, set and remove particular attributes or style or color or class, anything. So that can be done dynamically using JavaScript. So that's what we are going to discuss in this lesson. So these are the topics. We will learn text content, inner HTML, get attribute, set attribute, remove attribute, style manipulation and class manipulation. For this purpose, we will first start with this text content. Text content means we can access the text content of an HTML tag. This is an attribute as part of every HTML tag. Let's first look into this corresponding HTML page and corresponding web page to this HTML. Okay, I will open up our console. Okay, here is our console. In this console, I will create a variable var title is equal to document dot get element by ID and I will provide ID as title. So this particular thing will access a particular element having ID title. So here this particular h1 has a ID title, so that h1 element will get selected. Now we can access style this title dot, this title means this particular variable title dot, I can access the text content of that particular HTML element. Okay, text content. In the text content we get result as web application development because this is the text content of corresponding HTML element. So this is the corresponding HTML element and this is the text content inside that HTML element. Okay, so that is text content. Not just we can access this element, we can also manipulate this element. We can change the content of this particular text using this JavaScript. For example, we can set title dot text content is equal to web app develop, web app dev. Okay, so we will save this. Now this corresponding value has become web app dev. That means this particular title element got changed into this particular text. So we can access element and we can manipulate that element. We access the text content of that particular HTML element and we have updated the text content of that particular HTML element. So that is text content. Now we will look into our next concept, that is inner HTML. Let's look into what is inner HTML is. So I will print title dot inner. Okay, we will do one more experiment. I will set text content is equal to h1 slash h1 web app. Okay, now you can see that text content has become h1 web app and closing tag of h1. So this is text content attribute. We just access the text within that HTML element. Now we will look into title dot inner HTML. Title dot inner HTML. Okay, I will refresh this particular page and I will access the element once again. Var title is equal to document dot get element by ID, document dot get element by ID title. Then I will access title dot inner HTML. Okay, so that is the corresponding inner HTML. I will manipulate inner HTML is equal to h1 slash h1. Within that I will type web app development, web app dev. Okay, now you can see here the type we have in the previous case when I gave text content is equal to h1 opening and closing tag and web app dev and opening and closing tag, that just got printed in the web page. That's because it was text content element. Here we are manipulating inner HTML. Inner HTML means the HTML content within that element. So we updated the HTML content within that element. So we have given an h1 tag. That's why this was got rendered as an h1 tag format. So web app dev text is got formatted as with the h1 tag format. So that was text content and inner HTML. Now we will look into attribute manipulation, how to manipulate different attributes of HTML elements. For this purpose, here this paragraph has an attribute called style. We can access this style attribute, we can manipulate this style attribute, or we can change this style attribute. We can also remove this style attribute. Let's check into it. First, I will access this style attribute of this particular paragraph element. For accessing this, here is only one paragraph. For accessing this particular paragraph, I can give something like this. Var para is equal to document dot query selector of, I can give this p. Okay, so that para variable contains the reference of this particular paragraph. Now I can print para dot style dot okay, here the style at para dot get attribute. I can give type para dot get attribute of, within that bracket I can give an attribute as style. So that is get attribute. We can access an attribute of an HTML element with this get attribute method. So we have given attribute as style. So the corresponding attribute styles value is this. So that particular value got displayed here. So para.get get attribute of style will give us the corresponding value within that style attribute. Now let's see, can we change this style attribute? Okay, for that purpose I will type this code once again. Var para is equal to document dot query selector p, then para dot I will type set attribute. We can in the previous case we have printed that attribute using get attribute method. Now we will set that corresponding attribute value. First I will provide which attribute I want to manipulate. I want to manipulate the style attribute. Then I will type what the value that need to be updated there. So I will type color blue. Okay, let's see whether it has changed or not. If it works perfectly, then the style attribute will be set as style is equal to color blue. So this paragraph's color will be changed from red to blue. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it has worked. This particular paragraph's color has changed from red to blue. So we have set that attribute of style attribute. We set it into color blue. Okay. To prove my point, I will again access this value of style. I will print get attribute of, I will type style. Okay, now you can see there is color blue. It is not color red, it is color blue. Okay, so that is accessing an attribute, get attribute, and then set attribute. We can also remove a corresponding attribute. Let's remove this style attribute. For removing this style attribute, we can use the method remove attribute. So that attribute has removed from this HTML element. Here it is given as pure black, or there is no formatting applied. So that particular style attribute got removed. So these are the three methods we can use for accessing and manipulating attributes. Now we have discussed so far. We have accessed the text content. We have manipulated the inner HTML. We have understand the difference between this text content and inner HTML. And we have discussed get attribute manipulation. As part of attribute manipulation, we have discussed get attribute, set attribute, and remove attribute. Now we will manipulate style directly. If there is a possibility for manipulating the style directly, it would be efficient for us. So we will learn how to manipulate style. Style manipulation. Okay, let's start with this particular style. We can access this particular element. We will access this particular element and we will change the style attribute directly without using this get attribute or set attribute method. We can directly access and manipulate the style attribute of any HTML element. Let's see how we can do that. I will create a variable var. I will create a variable like para. Okay, document.query selector of p. Now I will print para.style.color. Now you can see, there is semicolon. Now you can see the value as red. Why? Because this para variable contains the reference to this particular paragraph. Okay, I will refresh it once again. I will type para is equal to document.query selector of p. So this paragraph got selected. Then I have typed para.style.color. So it directly accesses the style attribute of any HTML element. So this HTML element's style attribute will be accessed directly. And within that style attribute, we will access the attribute of color, or we will access the value of color. And the value of color is red. That's why red got displayed here. Now we will learn how to manipulate or how to change this color to something else. For that purpose, I can give like this blue. So color is equal to blue. Now it has changed to blue. So it is easy to manipulate the style directly. We just need to type that para.style access the entire style, and we can specify which particular element we want, which particular value we need to modify. I have specified with using a dot color, and it displays the color value. If I set it to blue, that color value will get updated to blue. That's how easy to manipulate the style in an HTML page using our DOM. So we have discussed this style manipulation. Now we will learn how to manipulate class, how to add or remove class dynamically into an HTML page. For this purpose, I will create one class here. I will create a CSS page here. I will create some style.css. Okay, I have created a style.css page, and within this I'll create a style file dot class file dot I will create a style highlight. Within this I will give color red. Okay, color red, and I will link this particular style sheet file with this HTML page. Here I will type style link rel style sheet, and within that I will type style.css. Now these two pages are linked. Let's check here. I will add a class here. Class is equal to highlight. Okay, so here it is black. Let's see what happens now. If it works, then here this h1 element got this highlight class, then this particular style will be applied to this particular class. Okay, let's see whether it has worked or not. Okay, so I will refresh this particular page. Okay, now it has become red. That means this particular style sheet file is linked correctly, and this class got added to this particular h1 element. Okay, now we will see how to add or remove class dynamically within this HTML DOM using JavaScript. For this purpose, I will access this particular h1 element here as var title is equal to document dot get element by id title. So this element's reference is got in the variable called title. Now I will access title dot class list. Okay, so it displays the class list associated with this particular h1 element. We can see a class list as highlight is being applied to this particular element. If I want to add one more class to it, I can just directly add to it using this attribute called add. Okay, for this purpose I will create one more class here, change font. Okay, here I will type font size 32 pixel. Okay, now I will give here change font. Let's see what happens now. Okay, there is no change. Okay, I did a mistake, I think. Okay, let's remove this. So here is a highlight class. We will work with this highlight class itself. Okay, first let's don't add this highlight class here. I will remove this highlight class from here. Okay, so here there is no highlight class. In the CSS file I have given a highlight class here, but in the HTML I doesn't link this highlight class to any element. Okay, so I will refresh this particular page. I'll refresh this page. First I will access the particular element title. Now I can add a class to this particular element dynamically using the attribute class list dot add. I can add a class. We have given a class name as highlight. Let's add it here. So I will type highlight. Okay, now it has become red. Previously it was white, black. Now it has become red. Let's see once again. Now it has become white, red. This is how we can add class to HTML elements dynamically. Now let's see how to remove this class dynamically using DOM. I will type class list dot remove, and I have to remove a particular class. I have to remove this particular highlight class. Then I will type enter. Then that particular class got removed. Okay, that's how it works. We can add class to elements dynamically using this class list element. So title dot class list, we can add a particular class and we can also remove a particular class with this class list. So that's how we can manipulate class dynamically. So we have discussed class manipulation. So using these methods, we can dynamically manipulate elements within an HTML page, whether it can be the content of the page, content of that element, whether it can be attribute of element or style or class. We can access these individual things and we can manipulate these using our JavaScript. So that concludes our session. Thank you.